Welcome back to our reading of Precious Remedies Against Satan's Devices by Thomas Brooks, done a long time ago, but still very, very appropriate and applicable for today. We're looking at chapter 13, this device. He says, he shows the world in its beauty and splendor, which proves to be a captivating sight for many. It's true, this didn't work on Christ because Satan couldn't find anything in him to tempt. But Satan finds plenty in us to work with. As soon as he dangles his golden bait, we're ready to play with it and nibble at it. As soon as he throws out his golden ball, people are quick to chase after it, even if it means losing God and their souls in the process. How many believers these days have followed hard after Christ, God, and their practices until the devil presented the world in all its beauty and splendor, which bewitched their souls. They began to think less of holy things, grew cold in their affections towards them, then disregarded them, and eventually, like the young man in the gospel, turned their backs on them. The time, thoughts, spirits, hearts, souls, duties, and services that the excessive love of this wicked world consumes and destroys. Where 1,000 are destroyed by the world's frowns, 10,000 are destroyed by the world's smiles. The world, like a siren, sings to us and sinks us. It kisses us and betrays us like Judas. It kisses us and strikes us under the fifth rib like Joab. The honors, splendor, and all the glory of this world are but sweet poisons that will greatly endanger us if they don't eternally destroy us. The multitude of souls that have overindulged in these sweet baits and died forever. So what is the remedy? 1. The first remedy against this trick of Satan is to focus on the powerlessness and the weakness of all these earthly things. They can't protect you from even the smallest harm. They can't provide you with the slightest desirable good. A crown of gold can't cure a headache. A velvet slipper can't ease gout. And a jewel around the neck can't take away a toothache. The frogs of Egypt entered the houses of the rich in Egypt just as they did the poor. Our daily experience shows that all the honors and riches people enjoy can't free them from colic, fever, or even minor illnesses. What's even stranger is that a lot of wealth can prevent people from falling into extreme poverty. In Judges 1:6, you'll find 70 kings with their fingers and toes cut off, happy to lick up the crumbs under another king's table. And shortly after, the same king who brought them to this poverty is reduced to the same misery. So why should something that can't give you the slightest comfort on earth be a barrier to keep you out of heaven? The second remedy against this trick of Satan is to focus on the emptiness and powerlessness of all worldly goods. This is the essence of Solomon's message. Vanity of vanities, it's all vanity. Our first parents realized this and named their second son Abel, which means vanity. Solomon, who experienced these things firsthand and could best speak to their emptiness, repeated this message over and over. Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. It's sad to think about how many people can say, vanity of vanities, all is vanity, even swear it, yet still chase after these things as if there is no other glory or happiness to be found. These people will trade Christ, heaven, and their souls for a trivial thing, calling things vanity, but not truly believe it in their hearts. They set their hearts on them as if they were their crown, the pinnacle of their royalty and glory. Oh, let your souls dwell on the vanity of all things here below until your hearts are thoroughly convinced and persuaded of their emptiness, so you can trample on them and make them a footstool for Christ to rise up and triumph in your hearts. Christendom once said that if he were the best person in the world to preach a sermon to the whole world gathered together in one congregation, and had a high mountain as his pulpit from which he could see all the world, and had a voice as loud as the trumpet of the archangel so everyone could hear him, he would choose to preach on no other text than that in the Psalms, which says, O mortal men, how long will you love vanity and follow after lies? Tell me, you who say all things under the sun are vanity, if you really believe what you say, why do you spend more thought and time on the world than on Christ, heaven, and your immortal souls? Why do you neglect your duty toward God to gain the world? Why do you eagerly pursue the world and are so cold in pursuing God, Christ, and holiness? Why are your hearts so uplifted when the world smiles at you, and so dejected when the world frowns at you and withers before you like Jonah's gourd? The third remedy against this trick of Satan is to think a lot about the uncertainty, changeability, and inconsistency of everything under the sun. Man himself is just the dream of a dream, a creation of imagination, an empty vanity, a detailed picture of nothing, a poor, weak, dying flash. All temporary things are as fleeting as a fast-moving torrent, a shadow, a ship, a bird, an arrow, or a messenger passing by. Why should you set your eyes on what is not, says Solomon. And the apostle says, the fashion of this world passes away, 1 Corinthians 7:31. Only heaven has a foundation. Earth has none, but is hung upon nothing, as Job says, Job 26:7. The apostle told Timothy to instruct rich people not to be arrogant or to put their trust in certain riches, 1 Timothy 6:17. They are like bad servants with shoes made of running leather, never staying long with one master. Just as a bird hops from tree to tree, so do the honors and riches of this world move from person to person. Let Job and Nebuchadnezzar testify to this truth as they fell from great wealth to great want. No one can promise themselves that they will be wealthy by nightfall. One storm at sea, one coal of fire, one false friend, one careless word, one false witness can make you a beggar and a prisoner all at once. All the riches and glory of this world are like smoke and chaff that vanish, like a dream and vision in the night that doesn't last. As if a hungry man dreams and thinks, he eats, but when he wakes up his soul is empty. And like a thirsty man who thinks he drinks, but when he wakes up his soul is faint, as the prophet Isaiah says, Isaiah 29:8. Where is the glory of Solomon, the grand buildings of Nebuchadnezzar, the 900 chariots of Caesarea, the power of Alexander, the authority of Augustus who commanded the whole world to be taxed? Those who were the most glorious in what people generally considered glorious and excellent have had inglorious ends. Like Samson for strength, Absalom for beauty, Ahithophel for strategy, Haman for favor, Asahel for swiftness, Alexander for great conquest, and yet after 12 years he was poisoned. You can see the same in the mighty 4 kingdoms, the Chaldean, the Persian, the Grecian, and the Roman. How soon were they gone and forgotten, now rich, now poor, now full, now empty, now in favor, now out of favor, now honorable, now despised, now healthy, now sick, now strong, now weak. Oh, don't let these uncertain things keep you from these holy services and heavenly tasks that can make you happy forever and render your soul eternally blessed and at ease when all these temporary things say their final goodbye to your soul. The fourth remedy against this trick of Satan is to consider that the great things of this world are very harmful and dangerous to both our outer and inner selves due to the corruptions in human hearts. Oh, the rest, peace, comfort, and contentment that the things of this world strip away from many people. Oh, the fears, cares, envy, malice, dangers, and mischiefs that they subject people to. They often make people overly confident in a worldly way. The rich man's wealth is a strong tower in his imagination. I said in my prosperity, I should never be moved. Psalm 36. They often swell the heart with pride, making people forget God, neglect God, and despise the rock of their salvation. When Jeshurun grew fat, thick, and covered with fatness, he forgot God and forsook the God who made him, lightly esteeming the rock of his salvation, as Moses spoke in Deuteronomy 32:15. Ah, the time, the thoughts, and spirits that the things of the world consume and spend. Oh, how they hinder the actings of faith upon God. How they interrupt our sweet communion with God. How they reduce our love for the people of God and cool our love for the things of God, making us act like those who are most unlike God. Oh, the deadness, dullness, and barrenness that attend those under great outward mercies. Oh, the riches of the world choke the word, causing people to live under the most soul-searching and soul-enriching means with lean souls. Though they have full purses and chests full of silver, their hearts are empty of grace. In Genesis 13:2, it is said that Abraham was very rich in cattle, silver, and gold. According to the Hebrew, it means Abraham was very heavy, showing that riches are a heavy burden and often a hindrance to heaven and happiness. King Henry IV asked the Duke of Alva if he had observed the great eclipse of the sun that had recently happened. "No," said the Duke, "I have so much to do on earth that I have no leisure to look up to heaven." Oh, that this was not true of most believers these days. It is very sad to think how their hearts and time are so taken up with earthly things that they have scarcely any leisure to look upon heaven or to look after Christ and the things that belong to their everlasting peace. Riches, even when earned honestly, are like manna. Those who gathered less had no lack, and those who gathered more found it to be a burden and annoyance. The world is troublesome, yet it is loved. Imagine if it were peaceful. You embrace it even though it is filthy. What would you do if it were beautiful? You can't keep your hands from the thorns. How eager would you be then in gathering the flowers? The world can be compared to the serpent's cicatel, which is said to use its beautiful colors to mesmerize and amaze those it cannot catch, leaving them powerless to escape until it stings them. Oh, how many thousands there are now on earth that have found this to be true by experience, who have spun a fair thread to strangle themselves, both temporally and eternally, by being bewitched by the beauty and allure of this enticing world. The fifth remedy against this trick of Satan is to consider that all the happiness in this world is mixed. Our light is mixed with darkness, our joy with sorrow, our pleasures with pain, our honor with dishonor, and our riches with needs. If our fight is spiritual, clear, and quick, we can see that the happiness of this world is like our wine mixed with water, our honey with gall, our sugar with wormwood, and our roses with thorns. Sorrow follows worldly joy, danger follows worldly safety, loss follows worldly efforts, and tears follow worldly plans. When it comes to these things, people's hopes are empty, their sorrow is certain, and their joy is fake. The apostle calls this world a sea of glass, a sea for its troubles, and a glass for its brittleness and bitterness. The honors, profits, pleasures, and delights of this world are like the gardens of Adonis, where we can gather nothing but trivial flowers surrounded by many briars. The sixth remedy against this trick of Satan is to get a better understanding and assurance of more blessed and glorious things. What lifted their spirits in Hebrews 10 and 11 to trample upon all the beauty, bravery, and glory of the world was their knowledge and assurance in better and more lasting things. They joyfully accepted the loss of their possessions, knowing within themselves that they had in heaven a better and more enduring treasure. They looked for a house with foundations whose builder and maker was God, and they looked for another country, a heavenly one. They saw the invisible and kept their eyes on the reward. This made them see all the glory and bravery of this world as poor and contemptible, not worth setting their hearts upon. The main reason why people obsess over the world and risk their souls to get it is because they are not familiar with the greater glory. People ate acorns until they learned about wheat. Oh, if people were more familiar with the union and communion with God and what it means, what it is to have a new name and a new stone that no one knows except the one who has it. If they tasted more of heaven, lived more in heaven, and had more glorious hopes of going to heaven, oh, how easily they would have the moon under their feet. It was an excellent saying of Louis of Bavaria, Emperor of Germany, that the goods worth getting and owning are those that won't sink or wash away if a shipwreck happens, but will wade and swim out with us. It is recorded of Lazarus that after his resurrection from the dead, he was never seen to laugh. His thoughts and affections were so fixed on heaven, though his body was still here on earth. Therefore he couldn't help but disregard temporal things, his heart being so set on eternal things. There are goods of the throne of grace, such as God, Christ, the Spirit, adoption, justification, remission of sin, peace with God, and peace with conscience. And there are goods of the footstool, such as honors, riches, the favor of creatures, and other comforts and accommodations of this life. Now he who is familiar with and assured of the goods of the throne will easily trample upon the goods of the footstool. Oh, that you would make it your business, your work, to focus more and make more sure that your own souls are looking at the great things of eternity that will bring joy in life, peace, death, and a crown of righteousness on the day of Christ's appearing. And that will lift your souls above all the beauty and bravery of this bewitching world. That will raise your feet above other people's heads. When a person becomes assured of a crown, a scepter, the royal robes, etc., they begin to have low, mean, and contemptible thoughts of those things they once highly valued. Similarly, assurance of more great and glorious things will breed in the soul a holy scorn and contempt for all these poor, mean things that the soul once valued above God, Christ, and heaven. The seventh remedy against this trick of Satan is to seriously consider that true happiness and satisfaction can't be found in any worldly goods. True happiness is too big and too glorious to be found in anything less than God, who is a Christian's greatest good. The blessed angels, those shining courtiers, have all felicities and blessings, yet they have neither gold nor silver nor jewels, nor any of the beauty and splendor of this world. Certainly, if happiness were found in these things, the Lord Jesus, who is the rightful and royal heir of all things, would have traded his cradle for a crown, his birthplace for a royal palace, his poverty for plenty, his despised followers for shining courtiers, and his simple provisions for the finest delicacies. Certainly happiness doesn't lie in those things that a person can enjoy and still be miserable forever. A person can be great and graceless like Pharaoh, honorable and damned like Saul, rich and miserable like Dives. Therefore, happiness doesn't lie in these things. Certainly, happiness doesn't lie in those things that can't comfort a person on their deathbed. Is it honors, riches, or friends that can comfort you when you come to die? Or is it not rather faith in the blood of Christ, the witness of the Spirit of Christ, the sense and feeling of the love and favor of Christ, and the hopes of eternal reigning with Christ? Can happiness lie in those things that can't give us health, strength, ease, a good night's rest, an hour's sleep, or a good appetite? All the honors, riches, and delights of this world can't give us these simple things. Therefore, certainly, happiness doesn't lie in enjoying them. And surely happiness isn't found in those things that can't satisfy the souls of men. None of these things can satisfy the soul of man. He that loves silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loves abundance with increase. This is also vanity. Ecclesiastes 5:10. The barren womb, the horse leech's daughter, the grave, and hell will be satisfied as soon as the soul of man will be, by the enjoyment of any worldly good. Something will always be missing for that soul that has nothing but outward good to live on. You may as soon fill a bag with wisdom, a chest with virtue, or a circle with a triangle, as the heart of man with anything here below. A person may have enough of the world to sink them, but they can never have enough to satisfy them. The eighth remedy against this trick of Satan is to seriously think about the value of the soul. Oh, the soul of a person is worth more than 1,000 worlds. It is the greatest insult to it to let it obsess over a little bit of shiny earth, a little bit of painted beauty and fading glory, when it is capable of union with Christ, of communion with God, and of enjoying the eternal vision of God. Seneca once said, "I am too great and born to greater things than that I should be a slave to my body." Oh, you should say, "My soul is too great and born to greater things than that I should confine it to a heap of white and yellow clay." I've spent more time on the remedies that can help us against this dangerous trick of Satan, because he usually does more harm to people's souls with this trick than with all of his other tricks. To wrap up, I wish, as Christendom once did, that this sentence from Ecclesiastes 2:11, which says, "Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, and on all the labor that I had worked to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun." I wish that was engraved on the doorposts you enter, on the tables where you sit, on the dishes from which you eat, on the cups from which you drink, on the bedsteads where you lie, on the walls of the houses where you live, on the clothes you wear, on the heads of the horses you ride, and on the foreheads of everyone you meet. This way your souls may not be distracted by the beauty and splendor of the world from those holy and heavenly services that can make you blessed while you live and happy when you die, so that you may breathe your last into the bosom of the one who lives forever and will make those happy forever who prefer Christ's spiritual and eternal things above all temporal and transitory things. Thanks so much for listening in, and I hope to see you in the next one.